Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 So, continuing to read from the book Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava for observing the disappearance day of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which is this Sunday. We already read his early years. Now we are reading, continuing with Pre-Sannyasa period. And today we'll come to the point when he takes sannyas and then continue from there. So, yesterday we finished off his tour of East Bengal and South India. We saw how he went to Udupi, Madurai, Sriperumbudur, so many places. Okay, continuing now. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati returned to Calcutta from his long and laborious journey, invigorated, vibrant, with fresh hope, and simmering with new ideas after his South India tour. Now he was equipped with both a large collection of rare books and manuscripts and comprehensive knowledge of multifarious doctrines and philosophies, the likes of either of which most scholars could not expect to amass in a lifetime. We mentioned yesterday, now today if you want to do research, we can go online. Previously it was not like that. We had to go to libraries and institutes, mutts, so many temples. So he did that and he got a lot of information. His erudition and intellect was so extraordinary that upon listening to him elucidate Vaishnava teachings, one Dr. Bihari Maitra, a retired deputy magistrate and accomplished student of philosophy, became so impressed that he approached Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur to offer respect, exclaiming that the Thakur must certainly be a worthy man because Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was subservient to him. But Sri Siddhanta Saraswati's acquisition of knowledge had not been merely academic. His aim was to employ this arsenal of information in a systematic, sustained onslaught against impersonalism and subsidiary obfuscation of genuine dharma, and ultimately to establish the superlative position of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Pre-Sannyasa. I'll often repeat what I read because English might be high for some people. Yeah, it's so mentioned that some people just study for the sake of becoming Pandit, getting knowledge, but his aim was to establish Vaishnava Siddhanta, especially Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Pre-Sannyasa. So on returning to Puri, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati again took issue with the Charan Das Babaji and his group for their mutative presentation of bhakti. This was becoming a major controversy, with the sway of public opinion going against Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, considered presumptuous and offensive for his assault on a famous and respected guru of thousands. It's not a new thing. So some temporary yogi or Baba becomes famous propagating some wrong philosophy. Even now, ISKCON devotees follow him. And if we speak against, why are you speaking against? He's a sadhu. But Asat, you're not speaking the truth, so they'll not last. Some of Charan Das' followers attempted to terminate Siddhanta Saraswati's service at Giridhari Asan by drumming up accusations against him, which he coolly ignored. Charan Das had continued to frequent Siddhanta Saraswati's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita readings at Bhakti Kuti, but when one day a discussion arose on the topic of Charan Das's invented mantra, Siddhanta Saraswati spoke so strongly that Charan Das snapped ties with him. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati then started going door to door and even catching pedestrians on the street, denouncing that Upper Siddhanta. Actually, this is still there, you know. That, what is it? Bhaja, Nitai Go, Radhesham, Bhaja, Hare Krishna, Hare Ram, something like that. They're still there. Not so prominent, no. So he started that time. But many people responded by insulting and pushing him. When some of Charan Das's acolytes threatened Sri Siddhanta Saraswati with death, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, although fully in accord with the spirit of his outspoken son, ordered him to go to Mayapur. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had anyway wanted Sri Siddhanta Saraswati to again oversee Yogpith temple, where due to lack of supervision everything was in shambles. Even by offering payment, it was hard to get anyone to serve in such a remote, undeveloped place. And most of those who could be persuaded to stay, even if only temporarily, were of questionable behavior or downright unruly. If you recall, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had revealed the birthplace of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and that was still a kind of forest. So he established some building and some deities, but who would go there? It was in the middle of no one, hardly anyone was there. On top of this difficulty was harassment from the envious caste Goswamis residing across the river in Kulia, what is now known as Navadip town, because they were saying the birthplace was there. And everything, Srivasangan, Gadadhar, Bhavan, all the places that are there on the Bhaktisiddhanta Marg, starting from ISKCON, they have the same, even now, they have it there, saying it was there. But he established it here and they were not happy about it. Thus Sri Siddhanta Saraswati felt more inclined to remain in reclusive bhajan without taking charge of Yogpith. But Srila Bhaktivinoda goaded him, do you want to abandon the world, neglecting service to Mahaprabhu? Such avoidance of responsibility would be like renunciation of the Mayavadis. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati acquiesced, he agreed. Another phase in his pre-sannyas years was when he chanted 1 billion names. During 1905, at age 31, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati took a vow to chant daily at least 3 lakh holy names and monthly at least 10 million until he had chanted 1 billion names. So, just to figure the mathematics here, 16 names in one recitation of Mahamantra, 108 recitations in one round, 1 lakh names are chanted in 58 rounds. But generally, we'll say 1 lakh names is 64 rounds. It's normally it was said like that. So chanting 3 lakh names daily had been the practice of Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur, and that example was considered ideal Nam Bhajan. 3 lakh means 3 times 64. 64 rounds, 64, 64. Okay, 3 lakh daily. So here he was saying that he'll chant 3 lakh holy names daily, which means 64 rounds, 64 times 3. And so he continued that till he chanted 1 billion names. He chanted on a japamala given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who had himself used them to fulfill a vow of chanting 1 billion names. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati's Shatakoti Nama Yagya, which he performed before a deity of Lord Chaitanya, lasted just over 9 years and 4 months, and was punctuated by much struggle and several colorful incidents, including attempt to oust him from Mayapur. Now that deity that he chanted in front of, it is still there in Rudradvip, Gaudiya Math. Rudradvip is where ISKCON is. ISKCON is situated, that is Rudradvip. So the Gaudiya Math there, we should try and see that deity. Can we go? Yet he was determined to continue service there no matter what. He was not just chanting, he was doing seva. 64 rounds times 3 daily. So Sri Siddhanta Saraswati cleared an overgrown area at Yogpith and made a grass hut in which he lived there from 1905 to 1909, 4 years, amid his many books and manuscripts. He was studying, reading, and carrying out the seva in Yogpit. In concord with Alankar Shastra, describing green as expressive of Viraha Bhav, he preferred to use green items, for instance, wearing green shawl in winter and writing with a green ink. He wore only plain unstitched cloth on both his upper and lower body, using neither shirt nor sweater. He gave up footwear, even though his feet would bleed. Once daily, he cooked plain rice in a clay pot and ate nothing more. He slept minimally on the earthen floor of his hut and bathed in Ganga, and the rest of the time chanted day and night on the same beach. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had given him in childhood, which he used throughout his life. Occasionally, he took black pepper to offset the nausea caused by virtual fasting. In the heat of summer, he would close the door and go on chanting all day and night. Whenever rain leaked through the roof, he sat under an umbrella and continued chanting. Srila Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj remarked, "I see the renunciation of Rupa Raghunath manifest in my Prabhu." Even while executing his vow, Siddhanta Saraswati also managed the affairs of Yogpit and wrote extensively, including an elaborate commentary on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Our Srila Prabhupada referred to that a lot. Anubhashya commentary. Practically many verses of the purports of Prabhupada's Chaitanya Charitamrita is referencing his works. And spoke at length to occasional visitors who took the trouble to approach that remote spot. Despite living as an eremite, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was gradually becoming known as an extraordinary ascetic and uncompromising exponent of devotional precepts. As his reputation spread, Pandits came from far away as Puri and Vrindavan to seek his elucidation on philosophical points. And among those who came to inquire from him, several young men found themselves compelled to surrender at his lotus feet. Some of these early disciples remained in secular life, and a few gave up all other engagements to live with him full time. Okay, one more section before we come to the end of his pre-sannyas period. His pastimes with his guru, Srila Gorakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. In 1906, Siddhanta Saraswati was lecturing in Kulia, Navadip, across the Ganga, on 3 grades of devotees, Kanishtha, Madhyama and Uttama. Having dilated on the first 2 categories with reference to the appropriate verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, where are those verses? 11th canto, Uddhav. To Uddhav, Krishna explains. He then quoted the corresponding shloka describing an Uttamadhikari. Sarva bhuteshu yapashye bhagavad bhavamatmanaha bhutani bhagavati atmani esha bhagavato tamaha. The most advanced devotee sees within everything the soul of all souls, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. Consequently, he systematically sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord and understands that everything exists is eternally situated within the Lord. This is in 11th canto, 2nd chapter, text 45. So Sri Siddhanta Saraswati continued, "What more shall I do to explain this stanza? My Gurudev, the personified manifestation of this statement, presently resides here among us in Kulia. Anyone competent to study his character will be able to appreciate the meaning of Uttama." Just then, impelled by the Lord dwelling in the heart, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati turned and beheld his spiritual master among the listeners. Though up to that point he had been unaware of his Gurudev's presence. Thereupon Babaji Maharaj immediately left the assembly, not wanting to hear praise of himself. Now and then Sri Siddhanta Saraswati sent fruits and vegetables grown in Mayapur to Srila Gorakishore Das Babaji, who would accept them with great adoration, touch them to his head and chest, and in due time offer them to Sri Nityananda Prabhu and partake of his remnants. A Brahmana youth from Calcutta named Mitra, although from a well-to-do background, once arrived at Yogapith dressed in only a tattered and grubby cloth that covered only his loins and thighs. Seeking a guru who fit his ideal of complete renunciation, he spent few days discussing deeply with Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, but left in disgust upon beholding the latter's absorption in managing the estate of Yogapith and arranging for extra properties. He thought, this is not a sadhu. Why is he managing? Convinced that he had nothing to gain from Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, Mitra set out for Kulia to see what he could get from Siddhanta Saraswati's guru, famed as the greatest renunciate of that time. Gradually that youth became the foremost of Srila Gaurakishore Babaji's assistants, but as his responsibility grew, so did his ego, and he became so conceited and bossy that whenever Sri Siddhanta Saraswati came for darshan of Babaji Maharaj, Mitra refused him entrance and closed the door on him, leaving Sri Siddhanta Saraswati to simply offer dandavat to his Gurudev from outside. Mitra appointed himself as the custodian of the plentiful milk products and other rich foods offered to Babaji Maharaj, disobeying his order to not accept them, assuring donors that he had given their offerings to Babaji Maharaj. Mitra would himself devour them. Fortified by such nutrition, he spent his nights enjoying others' wives. One day while Siddhanta Saraswati was visiting, Babaji Maharaj scolded another for desiring to touch his lotus feet, after which he called Sri Siddhanta Saraswati to his side and in Mitra's presence voluntarily took his own foot dust and smeared it on Saraswati's head. In humility, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati, believing himself out of favor, considered this bestowal of foot dust a sarcastic masquerade to underline his severe offenses. A few days later, Babaji Maharaj decided to shift his residence to an outhouse of Kulia Dharmashala, which Mitra arranged to be thoroughly cleaned. Anyway, there's a long section here. Later, Mitra was found to be doing sinful activities, so he was banished. It's a long write-up. Okay. Now we're coming to a place here, the Press and Preaching Center. In the summer of 1912, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was appointed head of the jury in a case at Krishnanagar against some dacoits which lasted 3 or 4 days in November. He took a group of devotees on a pilgrimage and preaching tour to holy places in West Bengal, connected with Lord Chaitanya and his associates. Around this time, Maharaj Nandi again, preaching press. Maharaj Nandi organized at Kulia another meeting of Kashim Bazar Samilani. On the ruler's insistence, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati attended but refused to take the Maharaj's food. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati explained, "I have already eaten today. Moreover, I cannot honor invitations for prasad without permission of my Gurudev." The monarch became exceedingly morose, but bidding him adieu means saying bye. Bidding him adieu, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati returned to the lotus feet of Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji. On hearing of this episode, Babaji Maharaj rebuked his disciple, forbade him for further participation in such functions, saying, "Devotion to Krishna can never arise at hodgepodge meetings. Even within unlimited millions of universes, it is difficult to find a devotee of Krishna. A Vaishnava is absolutely independent. Therefore, to congregate hundreds of thousands of Vaishnavas is possible solely in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So go to Mayapur, remain alone and just chant Hare Krishna." Then Babaji Maharaj stuck a few bamboo poles in the ground and hung a chadar over them, declaring it to be a place of Vaishnav gatherings, and that an assembly of devotees had convened thereunder, he chanted and danced ecstatically. With Sri Siddhanta Saraswati's vow to chant 1 billion names nearing completion, he asserted that his next task was to found a press and produce books. Revolution. Many of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's writings were still unpublished, as were several important palm manuscripts in Thakur's collection. But due to political disturbances caused by anti-British sentiment, it was impossible to obtain authorization to establish a press in rural areas. Furthermore, it was impractical to run modern machinery in the countryside, far from technical support. Thus, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati journeyed to Calcutta with an application and requisite fees for starting a printing operation there. And while the police were processing the request, he went back to Mayapur. We can observe Siddhanta Saraswati did such great austerity, studied so many books, he was on a very high level, and he established the press. So he was not lacking in renunciation or knowledge. And his decision to establish a press, we can see, decision of a great devotee. He shouldn't be compared less to others who are not printing or doing anything, just doing bhajan somewhere. He did that. He could. It's not that he could not. But this was a higher form of service, establishing a press and printing books. 9 days later, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati returned to Calcutta and began looking in the Kalighat suburb for a suitable property to rent. After lengthy search on 6 February, he finally sealed a 1-year lease for a stately compound at number 4 Shanagar Street that included 4 buildings, a pond with brick surrounds, and a ghat and a fountain, tennis court, an outbuilding for peacocks and deer, and a boundary wall over 20 feet high. For a sadhu to let an upmarket city property was unheard of. Yet from the beginning, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was ready to break with stereotypes and do whatever was required for spreading the Sankirtan movement. The monthly rent of 36 rupees was but a trifle for this superb estate, available so cheaply due to reputedly being haunted. Cheap properties. Check that they're not haunted. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati spent most of the remainder of the year based in Kalighat. You know where Kalighat is? No, where is it? Calcutta. A handful of moderately committed associates stayed with him. He already got some followers. And now and then friends and acquaintances would drop. Every night, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati had kirtan and distributed Harikatha to the few people who would attend. After much delay, approval for a press was granted. All glorious. In April 1913, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati installed a printing machine and typesetting facilities at Kalighat estate and named the operation Bhagavad Yantra, godly machine. I wonder where that is. We should try and find it. Within a few months, he published part of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, accompanied by his Amrita Pravaha Bhashya commentary by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and his own Anubhashya exegesis. He also published Bhagavad Gita with Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Sararthi Varshani Tika in Sanskrit and Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Rasika Ranjana translation come commentary in Bengali, and Sri Gaura Krishnodaya, an epic poem in Sanskrit by the Oriya poet Govinda Das that describes the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. I think it's the first time Gaudiya Vaishnava literature was published. In January 1914, the lease expiry on the Kalighat property imminent, the Bhagavad Yantra was moved to Vrajapatana. Okay, now we are coming to a section just before his sannyas, when both his gurus left. Who are the two gurus of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur? Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. In a short time they both left and everything fell on him. He was devastated. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, while composing Shiva Niyama Dvadashakam at Godrum in 1910, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur suddenly became so severely paralyzed that he could neither speak nor move. Although actually he was in Samadhi and occasionally returned to external consciousness at will. His family members took him to Calcutta for treatment, but to no avail. The condition endured for some months, and it appeared that the august Thakur was about to expire. Pleased at this prospect, certain envious persons propagated that Bhaktivinoda was now reaping the due karmic reaction. Pained that the purely spiritual pastimes of a Mahabhagat were being likened to the sufferings of ordinary jivas enslaved by material energy, Srila Siddhanta Saraswati implored at Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's bedside, "Please remain with us for some more days to further propagate the gospel of Srimad Mahaprabhu, thereby uplifting the universe. Thereby, in this way, even these ignorant villains who are now criticizing you may also be benefited." Thenceforth, Thakur Bhaktivinoda gradually regained full locomotion, leading many of his detractors to repent and submit at his lotus feet. Then we could see it was not he was under karma or maya that he got sick. He became better because Bhakti Saraswati Thakur told him to come back. He came back. While enacting this Leela of sickness, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was requested by Srila Gaurikishodas Babaji via a caste Goswami not to remain in Calcutta, but to join him in Navadvip, because Calcutta is the place of Kali. On hearing this, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur asked the messenger to convey his blessings to Gaurikishodas Babaji for his Hari Bhajan and relay the comment, "Where I reside is not the resort of Kali." Sri Siddhanta Saraswati then explained to that Goswami, "Srila Narottam Das has affirmed, Yatha Vaishnava Gan se Sthana Vrindavan." Wherever Vaishnavas are present is Vrindavan. Most people who approach Babaji Maharaj do so with their own ideas. They make a show of taking sadhu sangha, but are actually unwilling to accept his instructions. He reciprocates according to their materialistic outlook and speaks in a manner to cheat them as per their desire. Only to one who approaches him in full surrender does Babaji Maharaj open his heart and reveal the truth. Later, Srila Saraswati Thakur revealed the inner meaning of this pastime. Short right up here. So he's explaining that toward the end of his manifest pastimes, upon seeing the dearth of bhakti in society, he adopted a vow of silence and remained immersed in Manasa Seva. This is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktisiddhanta is giving what actually happened in this incident. Again, I'll repeat. Toward the end of his manifest pastimes, upon seeing the earth, the dearth of bhakti means no bhakti in society, he adopted a vow of silence and remained immersed in Manasa Seva, devotional service performed in meditation. Those fools who in pride considered themselves devotees could not understand this pastime and thus made offense at the feet of a devotee. Wanting to see a devotee by their own feeble qualifications, they inevitably committed offenses. Shedding profuse tears on seeing the distress of souls suffering in this world, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ordered me to preach Shuddha Bhakti, to fulfill the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and from now to follow the tenets of devotional service. In 1913, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sent a requisition from Calcutta to Sri Siddhanta Saraswati in Mayapur. "There are not enough devotees here. I have heard that you have many there. So from now, among them, send 2 men. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati acceded, but one of the dispatch men sent the other elsewhere and arrived alone in Calcutta, where for some days he served Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Shortly thereafter, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote again to Siddhanta Saraswati, "You are my only true Vaishnav son. quickly free me from this association here. Take me to Godrum. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati soon arrived in Bhakti Bhavan, but was prevented from taking Bhaktivinoda Thakur due to some other family members' objections concerning the aged patriarch's health. Thus Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was obliged to return alone. Yet, upon reaching the train station in Calcutta, he was met by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who had arrived by car, accompanied by some relatives who had forbidden him to go, but finally yielded to his insistence. During this period, Siddhanta Saraswati was composing Anubhashya and regularly sending drafts to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Chaitanya Charitamrita. This endeavor much pleased Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who became especially delighted upon perusing Siddhanta Saraswati's comments on Chaitanya Charitamrita. He became pleased at the commentary, but specifically Adi Leela, chapter 1, text 19. 18 Thakur. There is a verse beginning 18 Thakur, Tine Moranath. Actually, this verse is explaining about Madan Mohan, Govinda, Gopinath, being the three lords of Vaishnavas, the three Thakurs of the Vaishnava, and very dear to the Vaishnavas. So in the commentary for that, he was very inspired by that. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur left this world from Bhakti Bhavan on 23rd June 1914. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was then in Mayapur. Although earlier that day he had received news by telegram of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's impending departure, because trains were delayed due to monsoonal rains and flooding, he did not reach Calcutta till almost 8 in the evening, a few hours after Thakur's passing. In the meantime, his other brothers had performed a cremation ceremony. In Vedic tradition, the body of a Paramahamsa is not burned, but is placed in Samadhi. Arriving amid sobbing and wailing, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati found his mother calm and composed, exhibiting no outward signs of grief. Actually, they had cremated the form of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Wanting to placate her with meaningful words, he said, "Today is one of great happiness, not of the slightest grief. Today our Master has re-entered the eternal pastimes of the Lord. Now it's our duty to remember his eternal position, name, qualifications, qualities, form and pastimes. Henceforth we will follow in his footsteps even more concertedly." Sri Siddhanta Saraswati's mother responded, "He departed after offering you plenteous blessings. He repeatedly mentioned your firm faith in Shuddha Bhakti and instructed that you should serve Sri Mayapur and propagate the message of Sriman Mahaprabhu." It's interesting, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that you are my only Vaishnav son. There are others who are following Gaudiya Vaishnavas, but they were not in the full mood of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, not imbibing that full mood. Sri Siddhanta Saraswati then addressed the gathering of Srila Bhaktivinoda's kinsfolk and followers, describing the Thakur's transcendental qualities. Until deep into the night, he substantiated that obsequies for a Vaishnav must be executed in conformance to Vaishnava directions as given in Hari Bhakti Vilas and Satkriya Sar Deepika by Gopal Bhatt Goswami and Hari Bhakti Vilas by Sanatana Goswami, rather than Smarta rites. Accordingly, disciples of the Thakur perform the remaining rituals as appropriate for Mahabhagavad. Actually, Siddhanta Saraswati, if he would have wanted to put him in Samadhi, but they burnt the body. But anyway, when he came, then the rest of the ceremonies were performed according to Mahabhagavad when he departs. So on 27 November 1914, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati established a Pushpa Samadhi at Swananda Sukhada Kunj, Pushpa Samadhi. That means when they perform that ceremony, normally the form will have a garland. That garland will be put there. But the form was not there. In honor of this, most exalted Vaishnavas within centuries, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati held a 3-day remembrance festival there. Then on 4th September 1915, the day of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Avirbhav Tithi, in conjunction with Bhakti Vinod Memorial Committee, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati organized the first annual public meeting in honor of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur at the prestigious Bangiya Sahitya Parishad Hall, situated close to Ulta Dingi Road. Several of the most distinguished intellectuals of Bengal attended and glorified the contributions and personality of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, we'll finish one last section before stopping. We mentioned about both his gurus departing. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur departed, and now here Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj. He disappeared from this plane on 16 November 1915. Several heads of temples had been awaiting his departure in hope of situating his samadhi in their mutt to attract pilgrims and thereby increase their own prestige and income. Thus, the competition generated by his passing was intense and nasty. A young man named Umapati described the scene. We're going to read how he described it. But here it's explained that Umapati was initiated with the name Kunja Bihari, became a prominent disciple of Srila Saraswati Thakur. Kunja. After Babaji Maharaj's departure, there were many opinions and disturbances over who would establish his samadhi. Hira Lal Goswami and a few others sent Sri Padmanabh Brahmachari, also known as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Das, to Mayapur to fetch Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, and told him to go with him. As we were crossing the river by ferry boat, we saw Prabhupada coming barefoot, wearing a warm green chadar. With him was Sri Paramanand Brahmachari. It was Chaturmasya and Prabhupada's hair and beard long. Seeing him, we prostrated in respect and apprised him in detail of the situation. After crossing the river, Prabhupada arrived at the Rani Dharmashala, where Babaji Maharaj used to stay. The Mahants and the Akhadas in Navadvip were arguing among themselves about taking Babaji Maharaj's spiritually blissful body for inaugurating his samadhi, because the shrine of such a Siddha Mahatma could be used to raise money. Srila Prabhupada balked at their illegitimate attempts. Apprehending a breach of peace, the Navadvip police inspector chaotic situation. After much hullabaloo, Babaji remonstrated, Siddhanta Saraswati is not a renunciate and therefore not eligible to establish a samadhi for a renunciate. He didn't take sannyas yet. Prabhupada thunderously retorted, I am the only disciple of Paramahamsa Babaji Maharaj. Even though I am not officially a renunciate, I am a celibate brahmachari. And by the grace of Babaji Maharaj, I am not furtively addicted to abominable habits or involved in fornication, as are certain simian people. Fornication, illicit sex. Simian people. Simian means pertaining to monkeys. If anyone here is a renunciate of truly stainless character, we have no objection to his establishing Babaji Maharaj's samadhi. He who within the last 1 year or 6 months or 1 month or at least 3 days has not had any illicit contact with a woman will be able to touch the spiritually blissful body. If anyone else touches it, he will be completely ruined. The police inspector asked Prabhupada how evidence of this could be ascertained. Someone may say, no, I didn't do it, and then he... To which Prabhupada replied that he would accept their word. Everyone present was astonished to see those dressed as Babajis turn their backs one by one and quietly disappear. Some 2-3 months before his departure, during apparent sickness, Gaurakishore Das Babaji had called Sri Siddhanta Saraswati from Mayapur and instructed that his samadhi should be established either in Mayapur or Godrum. But if neither of these alternatives was possible, then his body should be dragged by municipal sweepers through the streets of Kulia, finally thrown in the Ganga. But due to pressure from others, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was now unable to take the transcendental form of his Guru Maharaj to Mayapur. Nor could he accede to those persons reiterating Babaji Maharaj's word that his form should be towed in the street. He said that out of humility. You know, like if a criminal or someone dies, they used to do that. And so he said that. And they wanted to do that. In response to their demand, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati stated, "My Sri Gurudev, whom Krishna Chandra himself feels privileged to carry on his head and shoulders, spoke such humble words to destroy the arrogance of non-devotees. Even though we are fools, inexperienced and offenders, we shall not be averse to comprehending his actual intent." We should understand the proper intent. How greatly was Sri Gaura Sundar embellished by dancing while holding on his lap the spiritually blissful body of Thakur Haridas after his passing. Following in Sriman Mahaprabhu's footsteps, we shall carry the transcendental form of Babaji Maharaj on our heads. The next day, with his own hands, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati dug out and shaped the Samadhi on an alluvial bank of the Ganga in Kulia, in the vicinity where Babaji Maharaj had performed much bhajan. The site was owned by the brothers Ananta and Vanamali Podar, prosperous businessmen who had been assisting Srila Saraswati Thakur for some years and were accepted within his circle. Claiming to have donated that property and given up all rights to it, they personally labored and spent money, both for establishing a plinth thereat and later for daily services conducted under Sri Siddhanta Saraswati's direction, and for annual festivals celebrating Babaji Maharaj's Tirobhav. Yet after a few years, Ananta and Vanamali's outlook changed. They attempted to claim that site in the Transcendental Dham as a family property. Ignoring the repeated protests of Sri Siddhanta Saraswati and his followers and sympathizers, the brothers eventually forbade them access to the Samadhi. As a result of these heinous offences, Ananta and Vanamali soon lost their considerable wealth, and underwent acute domestic problems, later losing both the Samadhi and the land on which it was situated and being sent to jail for 6 months. Offense. Okay, this went on. Now, finally we'll read that so now, after both of them had left, Srila Siddhanta Saraswati was devastated. Practically, forgoing food and sleep, he remained engaged in intense bhajan while wrestling with a dilemma. His heart reverberated with Srila Bhaktivinoda's order that he not renounce service to Mahaprabhu. And seeing the mass of people spoiling their valuable human life, what is this contradiction? What do you call it? Dilemma. The dilemma is that Babaji Maharaj told him not to go to Mayapur. Where is that now? Okay, let's just continue here. Seeing the mass of people spoiling the valuable human life, simply taking birth and then dying without information of or interest in incomparable boons offered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati was unceasingly contemplating the need to preach. Yet having experienced the kind of malicious opposition he would have to face for speaking the truth, he was reluctant to return to public life. He was sworn that I have to speak the truth. But people go against it. They are sentimentally maybe attached to some idea or some person who is not bona fide. Then one day a gust of wind blew before him an extract from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. How can that, when will that happen? Just out of nowhere, a paper of Chaitanya Charitamrita came, wherein Lord Chaitanya instructed Sanatana Goswami to compose transcendental literature, renovate forgotten holy places, institute service to Lord Krishna, and propagate bhakti rasa, these 4 things. Taking this as a divine indication, but feeling depressed and incapable, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati pondered, I have no public support, no wealth, no learning or intelligence required to awaken interest in the populace. How can I convey to the inhospitable world the pure teachings of Sri Chaitanya and establish the manobhishta of my gurus? Shortly afterward, this is very significant, okay, at least here don't doze off, very important point. Shortly afterward, one night at Yogpith, in a dream-like revelation, he saw approaching him from the east the Panchatattva, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, Srila Jagannathas Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Gaurakishore Das Babaji Maharaj, and numerous other great devotees of Lord Chaitanya. Saraswati, they told him, Saraswati, why are you worrying? Begin the task of establishing Shuddha Bhakti. Distribute Gaura Vani universally. Expand service to Gauranam, Gauradham and Gaurakham. Understand that it's here in a footnote. Respectively, the transcendental name, abode and desire of Gaura should be propagated. With unbreached enthusiasm, broadcast Bhaktisiddhanta. We are eternally with you, ready to help. The support of unlimited people, immeasurable opulence, and boundless scholarship awaits the blessing to serve your mission. All will manifest when required. Come forward with full strength to distribute the message of Mahaprabhu, Prema Dharma, throughout the globe. No worldly hindrance or menace will be able to obstruct this undertaking of yours. We are forever with you. Next morning, the few young disciples who had gathered around him saw for the first time in many days his face refulgent with happiness. He related to them the vision he had seen. Before long, he resumed working on Anuvriti, and thenceforth his avidity for preaching was fully rekindled and unretractable. Hare Krishna, Sri Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Tomorrow we begin Sannyas and Sri Chaitanya Math, establishing Sannyas, taking Sannyas and Sri Chaitanya Math. Hare Krishna.